Welcome to New Hampshire. Live free or die. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
They're gonna say welcome to yogurt.
Yeah.
Welcome to yogurt talk.
We're in New Hampshire, buddy.
Make a bunch of yogurt sounds.
You know how like IMDb has ads like kind of throughout like every other garbage website for like mine right now, all of my ads that are attached that have like Amazon ads at this point are all those like shitty AI generated Facebook shirts.
Hell yeah.
Right now, the one advertised to me is Brisketarian because brisket never disappoints. The cow has an American flag on it.
It's true.
Better grab me one of these. Only $20. Pretty good deal.
My mom was born in March, and she'll fight you over her llama named Herbert.
She also loves brisket. This is episode 217 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is... I don't remember the names of this movie.
I'm Brisket.
Yeah.
And I'm mad.
Dr. Dan.
Dr. Dan the Brisket Man.
This week we watched absolutely perfect cinema. Martin Scorsese could never. 2006's Lycan Colony.
What a film. What a film.
Words don't do this movie justice.
I agree, but I think for the opposite reason that you're saying it.
Don't get me wrong. This movie is terrible.
No.
But this movie had the effect on me that The Room had the effect on everybody else.
This movie deserves midnight screenings and people throwing, like, plastic lockets at the screen. They're furry wolf heads.
I could discuss the editing of this movie alone for the next 3 weeks straight.
Just the bartender guy.
Like all the editing at the end during like the final quote unquote fight battle, whatever you want to call it, is
stuff happened. I couldn't see because it was all fucking pitch black.
There's a scene where two people for a solid, I don't know, a minute and a half say, are having a conversation, just two people. And it's like neither of them could memorize all of that dialogue, so they read a line and it stops. And it fades like cuts. It does not even that. It does like a fade in and out of every line of dialogue. Like back and forth, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And
they do that a lot.
Incredible.
They're on the worst green screen background I've ever seen.
What?
There were
in a
sometimes...
forest. Like, you could easily go to any wooded area. And they're just like,
rocks.
They were, most of the people towards the, like 50% of this movie takes place in the woods. And maybe about, if we're taking that 50%, 90% of that, they were not actually in the woods, and it was CG. And there's a scene where, like, somebody gets, like, thrown into the woods, and they, like, CG'd her onto the woods, but it's so pixelated that you can't even tell, like, that it's I just was like,
It's like the roll. It's like this horrible like roll into it's like CGI background
fast
woods.
Forwarded too, and like
oh my God.
I don't like to just shit on like, because this is, from what I can tell, this is the only thing this person made, right? And like I think they like,
I don't know why
they directed and wrote it. They may have edited it. I'm not sure. No,
Rob Roy, King, Stan.
I don't think it was edited at all.
The people that edited it have just this movie, and one of them has something else under their credit. So, like, I don't know if I could have done a better job. But,
I easily could have.
I don't know. Like, there's parts...
There's no doubt in my mind.
There's parts where, like, the sound editing is cut out a solid 20 seconds before the scene ends, and it's just, like, silence.
Yeah. So one of my first notes about, first of all, shot on Nokia phone. The sound in the mixing is so bad. Every scene in the movie either has like 3 songs playing or literally no sound at all.
The music,
like
incredible.
The music.
Void.
Waxworks. What the fuck are you doing? Not releasing this soundtrack on vinyl.
Baffling.
I need it. It like just back to the editing, the sound editing in this, where like it's worse than like Italian dubbing in some things, where half the sound editing is just overly loud people breathing, but it's not like the people on screen. It's like they found
the cameraman.
No, like they
breathing.
I just assume they found a sound clip of people breathing online and just keep replaying, because it's like it'll just be somebody like sitting there where they're like sort of overexerted. They're like,
or like
they're using Vader. It's Vader breath.
They're just found like Lamaze breathing and like put it over it. It's baffling.
There's also a scene where I also don't know most people's names, but the wife/mother is sleeping on the couch for multiple scenes, and they've inserted like a stock sound of a man snoring, and it's like literal cartoon like like that, and I was like, what in the world is happening here?
It's so good. The editing choice alone of the woman at the end pulling the heart out of the werewolf, saying "you hairy motherfucker" 3 different times.
Yeah.
It was like different takes, but they like showed all of them essentially.
It's so fucking. That scene alone, I was dying. I know why. I like rewound it and watched it again, because it's just like it's. They're like, all right, like she says this every cut, so I guess we have to use all 3 of them, but we'll just edit together as badly as possible.
And then there's like sometimes when like you can tell they filmed a scene like multiple cuts and they cut in like 2 different versions of it, but the people were like standing in slightly different places, so it'll be one scene but just in the middle it'll cut and they're standing in different spots, like carrying on the same conversation. And then there's sometimes when it switches, first of all, some of the hardest cuts to like a different scene that I was left like baffled, like did I miss something? Or they would show like cuts of scenes that actually they cut completely from the movie, like I don't know, someone running down the street, but they didn't actually like show that scene or whatever. And it's just like, also, this is the first time ever that I had to watch something on my phone, and this was maybe possibly the worst one to have to do that with, because I can't imagine that you could see anything on a TV as it was.
I mean,
so
like last week I was talking with Kit and Shane about how I discovered that like playlist on YouTube of all of the shot on video films from like the 80s and 90s or whatever, and how like so many of them would be like shoot things outside in the dark, and the only thing that's like the only lighting is just like a basically died out fire that they were using in like a camp scene or something, so you couldn't see like anything that was happening. Or people would be shooting at like post dusk, where like everything is just looks like they put a blue filter on, but it's just they have no lights. And that's what I don't know, 90% of this movie looks like, is everything has like a blue filter over it, except for when you're in like the bar.
Yeah, but not orange. In the good way.
I'll say it's there's one meeting scene in particular where like the lady crawls through his window or whatever. I was just like pitch black. You can't fucking see anything, and it's just like zoomed in on like the outline of a nose that you can see talking.
Yeah, they're like,
and then
he's in his bedroom playing guitar, and it's just pitch black, and I was
we
like,
should say shredding guitar because he is killing it.
oh, well.
But it's like kind of okay the first half of the movie, and then after they meet the witch, like the first scene with her is like actually in someone's backyard, and then everything after that is a horrible green screen that is entirely too dark and tinted blue, and it's all impossible to see.
I assume they put that green screen in a backyard outside, and like
we ran out of yard.
Yeah,
they'll know.
They just still they're like, but we need it to be sort of accurate, so we're gonna film this at night too. Because like the only scene that's like at all lit okay is the scene where the dad goes to his like AA meeting.
Oh,
everything
they
else
like had real lights.
Like even the shit in the bar is like
the bar looks like candlelight.
Yeah,
like old timey cabin.
I think except
candlelight.
Like they go into the kitchen at some point and it's kind of lit like a.
Hey, you're not supposed to
disco
be
ball.
in here.
Oh my god. This is the fucking greatest movie I've ever seen.
I assumed I would have fun talking about this, but sitting there and watching it and taking notes and watching it on my phone was excruciating.
No, so the only issue I had is like I don't like the first. I watched it twice because I watched it almost immediately after Kit picked it because I was like just sitting here in the middle of the night with like nothing to do, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch.
Just couldn't wait.
Well, it's also one of those things like what tends to
anticipation.
What ends up happening is I'll fucking not think about it till Monday night when I'm at work, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta watch this movie before, the next 12 hours. And so I was like, I'm gonna watch it early, and then I was like just baffled so much by that I watched it again just to like refresh my memory last night. But like, goddamn, Plex might be the worst fucking service. Streaming service.
Yeah.
It's good if you pirate movies, because that's what I use it for. Is not pirating films. Like there's a server with a bunch of movies on it. Just stream it from that, and it's great for that. But trying to watch any free movies on it or whatever. Fucking awful.
Oh my god, there were so many ads.
There's
and
so
half
many
of them
ad breaks,
took so long
and they're
to
all
load.
Fucking 200-second long breaks. It's just like
of
Jesus
the same
Christ.
Thing.
So
it was like vitamins, Old Navy, Progressive, and I was like, can this end?
The first time I watched it like on the browser on my phone because that was the only way I could get it to open.
Yeah,
and it was like kind of fine, except like. When it would go 2 ads and come back from ads, it would be like the videos were glitching for like 15 seconds and like wouldn't start until I pulled down my notification bar from the top of my phone and then put it back up and they'd be fine. It was very strange. Then I watched it on the app last night, and every ad that wasn't a Plex ad would buffer like fucking crazy for like if it was like Kit said, like 120 seconds of ads, like it would take 7 minutes for it to fucking all of the ads to play through, because anything that wasn't a Plex ad, it was like their server couldn't handle loading this ad for you.
Yeah,
you got the Dick Shark cut.
It was fucked up, like, because I was like, okay, maybe it's the Wi-Fi, but I was on my work Wi-Fi, then my home Wi-Fi, and then like I just on like my regular phone internet, and every fucking time it was the same thing. Like if it was a Tide ad, that 30-second Tide ad took 2 minutes to get through because it would buffer every 5 seconds, and I was losing my mind. I was like, I can't do this for this movie. Made that movie, like the second time watching it, easily 3 hours.
You gotta soak it in. You gotta marinate in it.
No, the problem is I was marinating in fucking ads for cranberry juice and shit I didn't want to see. Yeah, so I don't know. This movie is a banger. I highly recommend everybody watch it because it's an experience.
It rocks. It rocks. It's so Suburban Sasquatch rewired my brain, and that is now my yardstick by which all bad movies are measured. And this one is not near Suburban Sasquatch good, but it's pretty fucking good. It's got some really questionable decisions that are absolutely fucking hilarious, even sitting there on your own.
Yeah,
I can't imagine watching with like a group of people. I feel like that would be fucking wonderful. But even solo, it's really fucking funny.
The thing about it is, like, it's every scene you just watch and you're like, why was this decision made?
Yes, so what the fuck? There's a tattoo on a guy's neck. I feel like is the perfect example where it just... So it shows the dad, and he looks over at this man, and he makes, like, a really... like befuddled face, and then it cuts to the back of this dude's neck, and it does this really choppy zoom, like frame by frame by frame, right? And on the back of the dude's neck is this horrible looking like clip art fucking piece of shit that they just put on the dude's neck to act like it was a tattoo.
It's incredible.
Couldn't have drawn it on with like a Sharpie or something, and just we'll just digitally add that later.
It's like, I don't know if I noticed that the first time I was watching it.
Oh, I was in tears.
And then, like, when I watched it last night, I saw it and I was like, holy shit.
The same with the locket, like 20 seconds later.
Or
they open a locket and then just digitally put some fucking text on it.
The, like, highway sign that somebody drives past, which is literally just a green screen that somebody just moves the camera by. And then there's just a glitchy fucking, like, green highway sign that just sort of passes by. It's just endlessly baffling choices made in this movie, and it's incredible.
If you want to put in...
shit, did this guy write a Lycan Colony book?
It's... Oh, I got it confused with Born into Mafia, because Born into Mafia by our guy Vitale Versace, after he had filmed it, he had someone write a book based on it so he could say that the movie was based on a book, because the book came out like a week before the movie did, even though the book had pictures from the movie in it.
So there is...
We gotta do Born into Mafia at some point also.
A Lycan Colony book, Volume 1. I can't tell if there's a Volume 2 by R. Roy. That is
Rob Roy.
Ex-surgeon and alcoholic Dr. Daniel Solomon has gone from one unfortunate life-changing event to yet another. His family just moved to a prestigious home in Connecticut. Or from Connecticut to a secluded town in New Hampshire. Going to Amy. So it's just this movie, except for some reason the cover is an Asian woman with, like, looks like just some, like, light hitting her face, and then, like, just the worst Dungeons and Dragons ripoff logo for the title. I need this immediately.
Oh, man. 4 years ago, the director, after this was featured on Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst, I guess he cashed in on that mini fame by selling signed DVDs.
Yeah.
Damn.
I wish I
could have got one.
I was trying to see if, like, any DVDs were available, and I kept seeing you know, after BOTW exposure, and I was like, is this tied to Breath of the Wild somehow? What the fuck? I was like, was there some kind of, like,
sick as hell
weird fucking thing that went viral? Like, were they, I don't know. I just could not figure out what it was. Then I saw the book, and I was like, I gotta see what this book's about. I need this on DVD or Blu-ray immediately.
Same.
This is my new yardstick for which every movie on this podcast is going to be measured.
Was it shot on video? Was there a chance Visual Vengeance could do it?
I mean, it's shot on, like, it's definitely digital. It's not shot on, like, 35 or anything, but
yeah,
like this I want this movie on something. But what I also want is a 3-hour documentary all about it that I can watch instead.
I want a remake by Danzig.
I got a real real bummer for Katie next week that my movie has a lower rating on Letterboxd than this with about the same amount of viewers. So,
Hell yeah.
all right, let's
just y'all wait until my next pick.
I don't think we should pick anymore. How did we get stuck with 2 back-to-back hit picks? I didn't even
because you weren't on the podcast last week.
To be fair, last week's was legitimately a good pick.
No.
Dread fucking ruled.
Okay. I have seen that. Okay, so I rewatched before I realized that I wasn't going to be able to record. I watched the first one, which it will not surprise you guys to know that I thought it was amazing and I loved it.
I knew it.
And then I started watching the second one, and Chris was like, "Why are you watching this again? We've already seen it." And I was like, "No, we haven't." And he was like, "Yeah, we watched it already." I did not remember a single thing that happened in it. And I can tell you, watching it a second time, don't remember anything that happened in it.
Unbelievable.
And I didn't like it. So it ended up being fine that Shane was on it, because then I didn't have to argue with anybody. But I really liked the original, except for, the cop stuff. Except for blatant
Rob Schneider being the worst. I
thought that he and Stallone were delightful together.
If that movie was like
great.
A romantic comedy, I'm 100% on board.
Was it?
That's the movie. That's the Judge Dredd we deserve. All right, let's.
Okay, well, anyways, I still had to watch that, and then I had to watch this, and
I gotta say, this is up there with Dredd as far as quality goes. Pretty fucking great.
I agree, because I didn't like either of them. Okay.
Unbelievable. You're gonna get suspended from the podcast again.
I'm gonna find worse and worse movies.
Oh no! Just wait till I reveal my movie. I think. I don't know. I can't tell if it's gonna be good or bad, but I mean it's gonna be bad, but I can't tell if it's gonna be good, bad, or not. It's gonna be racist though. I can probably guarantee you that.
No. I just got the strongest idea of what it is, and I'm so concerned.
I think I told you last week after we went off the air, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think you did, and Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Katie, you're in for a bad time.
I think we're all in for a bad time. There's no way it's going to be fun. Anyway, Katie, let's get into this.
I think the only way I could have... So, I feel like if I watched this as like a bonus episode and I could have just watched it and not having... I think that sometimes having to take notes, like, changes the way I watch stuff, because I sometimes have to pause and sit, and think, how the fuck am I going to write this down? Because some of this shit is so ridiculous. There's, literally no words to describe what's happening. And so I think that sometimes if I have to sit and think about it too much, it, ruins the experience for me. So, if I was, watching this with people and, maybe I would have... I don't know. It was... Okay. So, this movie starts with a first-person view of chasing somebody in the woods. It's a hunter who is, again, just grunting very loudly into the microphone, and he's chasing a child who falls on the ground, and we find out that the child is a werewolf, and the hunter calls him Lil Pup, which I thought was pretty funny because I call Merlin that sometimes, even though he's a cat.
Yeah, he's a werewolf.
Yeah, he 100% is. And basically, the hunters have surrounded this child and are like, "Wow, where's the rest of you?" or whatever. And then we don't see that. I have to also. I feel like some of these graphics I would equate with early PlayStation 1 graphics, because the little boy transforms. We don't see him. We just see a really terrible like dollar store dog mask like bite the guy, but then he's like, ah, and his yell echoes weird, and there's like weird blood effects, but they're like pixelated.
The werewolf effects in the first like 90% of the movie are so amazing. Because it's just like a morph suit, like a black morph suit, and they put like a weird kind of dog-shaped skull cap onto the person.
Well, no. So one of the things, like, I was going to talk about, and I don't know what I got distracted on. Every werewolf in this movie looks drastically different. And, like, sometimes...
All very scary, though.
The one with dreadlocks at the end, that's like the white furry suit. Like, just literally looks like a furry convention furry suit.
Yeah, they like shelled out for the big bucks for him, because he's like an actual furry.
There's him. That
was the whole budget.
There's one guy whose just skin is painted like fur brown, and then he just has like it's like a furry fucking werewolf head. The teenager that's like slowly transforming in it, they just kind of like glue some brown fur to, and then put fucking like fake vampire teeth in his mouth. It's incredible. Just perfect choices all around.
Yeah, some of the so there's like 3 vampires. There's 3 wolves who look the same, and they have like the same terrible, because it's probably the same person, to be honest. I don't think you see them, and I don't think
There's
you see
just the
them
one
together.
outfit.
Yeah, and it's like the head it's black. So the screen is already so dark you can see no features. It's just like fuzz. Then they've like glued some to his shoulders, but they've like put body paint on them, and then their hands are also furry. It's just like insane.
It's a lot.
It is.
Perfect.
So so this little boy, turns into a werewolf, bites that guy, and he has a PS1 death. And then the rest of the wolves are off camera, like howling and shit as they do. And the other hunters are just standing in a circle, like looking around, scared for like 10 minutes. And then they all fall down, but the camera like pans up, so you don't really see what happens. And then we get the title, which is Lycan Colony. I can't describe to you what the title poster looks like. It's like if you were looking at an ad, like a catalog ad in the 90s for like some kind of quote unquote like mystical store in the mall. Like that's what the flyer looks like.
There's store like, that just symbols, has like pewter statues of wizards and shit.
Yeah, and like incense and like shit. Yeah, exactly. And
like a modern day rock place. Most places it says rocks.
Because it has a wolf, just like a regular wolf, I think. And then it's like not even the full size of the screen. It's just like on the screen. And a song
fantastic
that is it's like singing about a precious angel or something. It's really strange. And then very baffling. I mean, you find out why this is happening, but I was so confused already because it shows you one of our main characters who is Dr. Dan, but I just call him Doctor. He is in a hospital room. It's obviously CG, and they put this really weird, like, blurry 3D effect on a bunch of the scenes for whatever reason. And he's just, like, standing there, and then he, like, looks at his hands, and then his hands are suddenly covered with blood, and then they're not, and then they are, and it switches back and forth a lot. And then it just, like, abruptly cuts to a woman who I call mom or wife, and she is cutting a pepper in her kitchen. I was like, what is happening here?
This whole scene, like, starting out the movie, just making everybody the least likable character imaginable.
Yeah, she is, I have to say, just the most awful caricature of, like, a wife and mother you could ever want.
Yeah, they're just like, how can we make her the shittiest mom on earth?
Literally, yes. She's, like, yelling at everyone constantly. She's in a bad mood. She's mean. Anyways, she's calling for Stuart. And Stuart's her son, who is so charming. He falls down the stairs. And then it's just like, whoa, oh, my gosh. and Dr. Dan is his dad, and he helps him up, and he's just like, well, carpeting happens.
Good one, Dan.
Yeah. So I don't know why this is the time to have this conversation, but they walk into the kitchen. I wrote mom is mean to them. She's mad because Dr. Dad hasn't taken the trash out. And then he's like, oh, you're just, like, oh, sorry. Basically, she's mad because they had to recently move. And she says that they used to live in the hills. So I'm assuming that they're alluding to the fact that they used to live in California or something.
According to the book, they were in Connecticut.
That's where they moved from? Well,
yeah, it says
I don't know that I've ever heard somebody describe Connecticut as the hills, but whatever. And she's mad because they had to move to like a little town recently or whatever. And they basically explained to Stuart that the reason that Dr. Dad and them all moved is because he is a drunk, and he showed up to work drunk to do brain surgery on somebody, and and he killed them, obviously. And so they had to move to like a small town.
You're just fine, like... Whatever, just move away.
I'm pretty sure that's
Don't go to prison, but get out of here.
Not a thing. They're just like,
right?
Yeah, can you just go be a doctor in another town instead?
We're not taking away your license.
To be fair, I listened to that Dr. Death mini-series podcast, so I guess that kind of does also happen a little bit.
Okay,
They tried to cover it up.
I can't start having a conversation about that, because that is...
You don't want to talk about accident being decapitated from the inside of your body?
I don't. Yeah, we can't go into that because that's like a whole nother hour of podcast. Like, so yeah, he turned up. Yeah, search. So instead of being like malpractice, you're in jail. They're just like, move away. So that's what happened.
You're exiled.
And now he is keeper of the Band-Aids or something, he says. I don't know. And so Stuart is upset. I don't think it's because his dad killed somebody, but he says something about like, oh, so you didn't switch jobs so that we could spend more time together either, huh?
The fuck?
What's happening?
Ad on my phone.
So he storms off, of course. And this is when Dr. Dad takes the trash out. He is startled by somebody named Dave, who turns out is his AA sponsor. And he, I guess, was just lurking out by the trash cans at night.
As one does.
And he's like, why haven't you been to AA? And he's like, I don't know, job, wife, I'm busy. And he's like, yeah, okay, but you literally need to go to AA. Like, let's go. So,
not all that anonymous if you're showing up to someone's house.
I just like that it's like, based on the lighting, it seems like it's 1 a.m.
It's like so dark, and I was like, what the... Because they kind of made it... Yeah, I don't know, whatever. So this is when we see the outside of their house, and something is breathing very heavily. This is like a
pervert
of this movie. I mean, essentially, because it is a... Okay, so this is when Stuart is in his pitch dark bedroom playing guitar, and he hears something at the window, and at first he's like startled, but then it turns out that it's just the girl from next door named Sarah, who says that she rock climbed up his house to get into his second-story window, and he's like, okay, I guess.
His house is made of rocks. It's normal.
And basically, she kind of just, like, fake hits on him a little bit. I mean, I guess real hits on him.
Number one.
By what happened.
It needs to be said, these two don't know each other.
No.
And
she just climbed into someone's house.
She climbs into his room essentially like a fucking vampire.
In the pitch black darkness. We have no idea what time it is.
Just starts hitting on him.
But he says, like, she's like, I'm Sarah from next door. And he was like, oh, yeah, I've been staring at you. I mean, I've seen you. And I was like, ew. And so she basically is just like, kind of like flirting with him or whatever. And then she's just like, this is like one of the scenes where she's like, do you need a minute? Or first of all, also it says something that Sarah is definitely the worst actor in this whole movie. But she's like, I don't know, do you need a moment or do you want to sit down? So he sits down, and this is like one of the moments where they do this weird like cut where they're like, he sits down and then they do a weird like blurry cut thing. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be time has passed or like what's going on. And then she's just like, do you want to get out of here? Like, I know fun places to go or something. So meanwhile,
the only thing this movie's missing editing wise is a star wipe to another scene. Like, they use almost every other fucking like weird trick they found in like whatever software they used.
Like the first Windows Video Maker or whatever.
Whatever free fucking software they could find to edit this movie.
Yeah. So this is where we see for the first time the mom snoring on the couch, which was baffling. The doctor dad is at the AA meeting, which this scene to me is also very baffling because there's like very loud music playing over like them being like, yeah, we're here at AA, and then this guy shushes them and they like flip them off or whatever you want to.
He pours himself some vodka out of his flask into a cup and like offers it around.
Yeah, at an AA meeting, so that's great. And so they're doing that or whatever.
He's just addicted to killing people that need brain surgery. Okay, he can't help it.
It's a real affliction. Okay, it's serious.
He's the victim here.
So yeah, loud music playing over them, like talking, and some of it strikes me as maybe they played the music in the room because it's like pretty obvious that
absolutely.
they're talking to each other, but like loud as if they're trying to talk over the music. And I was like, just don't have the music, like there's just I don't know, whatever. Okay, so this is another one of my favorite audio moments where Stuart and Sarah are running through the cemetery. He's like chasing her, and there's voiceover of them talking and also laughing, but it's overlapping, like the tracks are overlapping each other, and so they are talking over themselves, and it's like ha ha, and he's like, you're weird, but then it's like ha 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 ha, overlapping him saying you're weird, and it was just like, it went on for kind of a while. It was very baffling. Yeah, I'm so weird. They start to make out, and on a grave, as you do.
Yeah, they're goth.
And she like looks up at the sky, and it's a full moon, I guess, or almost a full moon. And she gets a wolf's mouth, and she bites his chest. And he's basically like...
It's such a big chunk of chest, too.
It's huge. And she's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, you really bring out the animal in me. And he's just like, oh, this is kind of fucked up. I gotta go. She tries to cauterize it, and I was like, girl.
No amount of flirting is gonna forgive a pound of meat being taken out of me like that. I'm gonna go home, or maybe to the hospital.
Yeah, he goes, I just need some Neosporin, and then he leaves.
Like 8 tubes of Neosporin, just pouring it on.
Literally. Yeah, okay. So, after the AA meeting, the sponsor is like, let's go get some coffee. Again, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning or something. I don't know. And so, the sponsor like takes Dr. Dad like down a dark alley to a restaurant to get some coffee, but it turns out it's actually a bar. And
that was a good underrated moment, I think, is when they walk out of the meeting and the guy goes, I could really use a drink, and he looks at him like, what? And he's like, of coffee?
Oh,
like, what?
Man.
Who would ever have assumed you meant coffee there, you nut?
And then they go to a bar.
They go to a bar anyway to try and get coffee.
His sponsor that takes him there is the guy that's a werewolf later, right? That like tells them about like his dialogue delivery is incredible because it's like he's reading off cue cards that they take too long to flip. Because he stops, like he'll be like, I believe it's the werewolves that are doing this time, and
strange pauses.
Maybe we should go after them.
Like, muddle mouth, where he'll pronounce things, he'll like fumble over his words, but they just keep going.
Yeah, you can't.
Like instead of just
they had to save all the extra takes for the end of the movie.
For the epic fight scene.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so while Dr. Dad and the sponsor are going on this trip or whatever, the sponsor's name is Dave. Meanwhile, it's like cut in and out with like scenes of Stuart at home who like can't sleep, and he's also freaking out, like rolling around in his bed, and it's all like blurry and 3D again or whatever. And then he turns into I wrote turns into a werewolf, I guess. Because essentially what happens is he gets like, fang mouth again, but then it just cuts to a completely black screen with like heavy breathing and snarls for like 10 minutes. And I was I
can't exaggerate how much heavy breathing is in this movie.
So much. Intentional heavy breathing.
It's incredible.
So at the bar, Dave introduces Dr. Dad to the bartender, and they do order coffee, and then the doctor asks to make his a double. So, like, double the amount of coffee, I guess, for two
coffees. It's like
a
double coffee.
Right, that makes no sense. I guess it's supposed to be a drinking joke, obviously. Shots, whatever. Then Dave says that the coffee here is really good, and also that they serve the best fucking steak. So they order steak.
Coffee and steak. Hell yeah.
Whatever is presented to them looks
kind
nothing
of
like
steak
to me. Yeah.
Just pouring coffee over the top of your steak.
Probably, actually.
Yum.
But like the doctor is basically just like, oh, thank God. And it's like talking about how his wife has him on a vegetarian diet and how terrible it is. And there's a lot of like vegetarian slander in this movie, and I was like, what is the point of this? I don't know. So yeah, they eat something that I don't think resembles steak, but it's fine. Then these two people who I called bro and sis come into the bar, and the exact delivery of bro's line is, let's get some food and booze. So that's what they're gonna do.
Hell yeah, brother.
So they're talking about how like having this conversation about the town and like the map or whatever, and like essentially their dad was like in the area tracking something, they don't know what, but it was big, and now their dad is missing. So they've come to like find their dad essentially, and there's just more joking about people being vegetarians. Except, okay, so the bro is like looking, the girl sister orders like pot roast or something, which I would not be ordering any of this shit at a bar. And then the brother's like, oh, not even fish on the menu, I'll have a salad. And then they like make a joke about it. And then I was like, okay, if he eats fish, then he's not a vegetarian though. Like, you understand that, right?
No,
anyway.
That's not how people for some reason don't consider fish to be. I think people
animals
think fish are
they
vegetables.
Have faces. I mean, fish sticks, of course. Duh. So, okay, so this is when Dr. Dad looks over and sees a Special Forces tattoo on the back of the brother's neck.
Quote-unquote tattoo.
Yeah. And basically he's just like, Special Forces! And they start... This guy's accent, by the way, also incredible. I I don't know where he's from, but he's definitely northern. And his accent is so thick that he pronounces like his R's and W's kind of the same, if like that means anything to anybody. And it was very funny. They're talking about the Special Forces tattoo or whatever, and then basically they find out that their dad was also a Special Forces guy, and the doctor used to be a doctor for the Special Forces, I guess, and knows him because he helped him or whatever. And then Dave and Dr. Dad join them for dinner, and are like telling war stories, I guess. And Dr. Dad is like looking at a picture of him, and he's like, I remember when he got this watch. It is engraved with this saying he used to always say. And then the kids say whatever it is. I don't know, scared. I don't know what it was. But then the bartender comes over to bring them like a pitcher of beer and immediately drops this same pocket watch on the table. And the doctor grabs it, and then he opens it, and it's like switches to a still shot of the locket where they've just like opened it in paint and like typed in like Arial font the saying that's supposed to be in the pocket watch. And I was like, what the motherfucker is this?
That's maybe my favorite bit in the whole movie. Because, like, a normal person who knows how to make a film would, like, have them talk about that. And, it's payoff later in the movie, right? But no, it's just, like, it's payoff, like, 2.5 seconds later. Like, oh, shit! This just happened!
Yeah. And
incredible cinematic mind. Rob Roy.
This actually might be my favorite scene, because after that, Bro and Sis grab the bartender and is like, where did you get that? And he's like, I found it. And they're like, what? You're going to talk to us. They're like holding both of his arms, and the bartender just like pauses and then goes, mistake! And like throws his arms up and runs like he's the Hulk or something. And that like legit cracked me up. I did not know.
Immediately after that, too, they chase him into the back room. He's like, I found it on someone, and they corner him, and he's like, yeah, I found it on his dead body while I was eating him or whatever. It's like...
He says, so they run into the kitchen, and some New York is in there, because they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be in here. And then they're like, fuck off, and everyone flips off these fucking restaurant workers, and I was
in
like...
unison. Fuck off.
Leave them alone. So they go into this other room where the bartender is cornered in shadows, and basically he's talking about how he hates outsiders. And he's like, yeah, I found that pocket watch. I found it on his freshly killed corpse.
Got him.
And I don't know why.
Got his ass.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. And so basically he basically like reveals the secret that he's been feeding people meat in the restaurant, and they all just ate their dad. The dad. And I was like, wow, so sinister.
She takes it pretty well. Like, she's like, this is gross.
They don't
but,
they don't really react at all, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. And he's like, now
like,
daddy's a part of every one of you. And they're just like, no, that's not true. And move on.
He already was. He's our
What?
dad, it's fine. We've been eating him for years.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when he transforms. We don't see him at this point. We just see his shadow because he runs away and, like, knocks them over or whatever. And then everyone's just like, I'm okay. Are you okay? Also, Dave has disappeared at this point. I was really confused until later because I was like, wait, where did that other person go? Because then they're just like, Dr. Dad is like, are you okay? And Sis is like, yeah, I'm okay. And then they're like, bro, are you okay? And he's just like, and his neck is cut open. And I assume that he died, but they sure proved me wrong. After he died, and then they put a bloody cloth over his face, and then they panned in slowly on it for like a few minutes. They got me. Definitely thought he was dead. then they find Dr. Dad and Sis find a cooler that has a bunch of dead people in it, and this is where she throws up. That's too much for her. Eating her dad is one thing, but a bunch of dead bodies is too far. And she's just like, this is gross. I'm going to stop that asshole, whatever. So they run up some stairs, and there's some werewolves up there. These are the ones that just have, like, fuzzy heads, and then their body is, like, painted black or brown. I really couldn't tell you what color they are.
To be fair, everything in this movie just looks black because there's no fucking lighting in any of it.
And they're doing this thing where they look like they are idle in a video game because they're standing there, like, flailing their arms around, like, in the same motion, just, like, standing there staring at her. And she's like, ah! And they're like, you know, like that. It's strange. But then, like, Sis ends up fighting them, and it's, like, really weird looking because it's, like, sped up. There is this one scene where she, like, turns around and hits one of them in the head with, like, a lead pipe, and the sound effect is like, bonk, like, really loud, and it's crazy. I want to know, like, what sound effects pack they downloaded from the internet, because it's got some bangers on it.
Goes hard.
Okay, I'm confused. There's a few times where I feel like I missed something. I'm confused because it seems like Dr. Dad wakes up on a couch in the basement, even though I was pretty sure that they went up the stairs together. So I don't really know how that happened, but he basically, like, sneaks his way outside where he finds Dave, and Dave is like, oh, hey, and he's just like, hey, what happened to you? And he's like, I got out. Glad you're safe. Like, come on, let's go this way. The rest of the time, though, Dr. Dad thinks that he is dreaming, so he is going to run back home so that he can wake up in his bed when he's done dreaming. Logical, I guess.
Not weird at all. Real quick, Kid, I have some good news. Rob Roy has a new movie that came out this year.
What?
Called Damaged Disciples, but I can't tell how to watch it. I'm gonna figure it out.
We're gonna find a way. Hopefully the success of Lycan Colony hasn't gotten to his head.
It says it came out in March, but I can't find any info except for, like, a Facebook page. Alright, anyway.
Oh, sorry, I was giving a moment of silence for my life if I have to watch that.
This doesn't. I can't tell if it's a horror movie, so I don't think we're gonna have to do it on the podcast. But I'm gonna watch it if I can find it.
Okay, so Dr. Dad has escaped. The sister is, like, still inside fighting or whatever, and then she jumps out a window. I can't even describe to you the way that the broken glass looks. Again, it looks. You know what? It looks like some weird, like, Star Fox 64 graphics. It's baffling.
It's that shit that, like, they do where, like, it looks like they've straight up stole the glass breaking from Jaws 3D when, like, the fake shark swims into the underwater fucking lab or whatever, and the glass just shatters at you. That's the effect they use.
Yeah, it's not great.
Disagree.
They just, like, they just pasted it over her, like, casually jumping off a ledge, too. When she gets in her car and drives away. Oh, I said because I had thought she killed the werewolves, but apparently she didn't, because they're fine, and they are alive and are like, oh, you know, as wolves or want. And so so the mom / wife is at home snoring on the couch, and we see the shadow of her son Stuart, who I called Wolf's son from now on, and we see his shadow on the wall, like he's a werewolf now. And she wakes up and sees the shadow and is like, oh my god, and she, like, gets up and runs into the bathroom and, like, shuts herself in there. For some reason, they do this thing very randomly where the color is inverted, and I don't know why, but like it happens for like a couple seconds. I guess just because she's really scared. But because Wolf's son breaks into the bathroom and like crawls up on her and is like snarling and stuff, and she's like, "Ah, oh my god!" And then Wolf's son just goes, "Mom." And it was so ridiculous because you can hear that actor like with the mask, like it sounds like someone speaking from underneath the mask, and it was ridiculous. And she's just like, "Oh, okay." So meanwhile, Sis has driven away from the bar in her car. She has a flat tire because one of the werewolves like slashed her tire or whatever. And when she gets out and she's looking at it, Dave just shows up and she's just like, "Oh my god, how did you get out?" And he's just like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And she's just like, I don't know if I can trust you. How do I know you're not one of them?" And then he just goes, "I am one of them." And then his eyes are all weird, and I was like, okay, great. He's like, you just don't understand. There's a lot of things you don't understand. And she's just like, "I don't trust you." And she like duct tapes his hands together, and he's just like, I could get out of this. And she's just like, "Well, I'm going to shoot you." And there's just this whole back and forth between them for the rest of the movie about like how she doesn't trust him or whatever. And then she goes to change the tire on the car, and he like lifts the car up for her so she can change the tire. Sure. Dr. Dad comes home and finds his wife awake, and Wolf's son is in there. He very casually, like very nonchalantly looks at Wolf's son, walks over and picks up a chair as if he's gonna like hit him with the chair. And then his wife is like, "No, that's your son Stuart." And he just goes, "Of course," and sits down.
Yeah. It would have been more awesome if he just hesitated for a second and then hit him anyway.
I love how quick to believe or dismiss shit people are. Like, "That's your son." And he's like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah.
Like, sure. There's a large wolf person in your home, and you're just like, "Yeah."
I mean, to be fair,
that's fine. I've seen them before.
Just fought their way out of a bar of werewolves that served one of them their own dad, so...
yeah.
I feel like I would have been like, "Yep, sure, checks out."
Yeah, absolutely. So Dave and Sis show up at the doctor's house and see that the son, and they like reveal that the son is a wolf now. The doctor, again, still thinks that he's dreaming, and he also thinks that he's in the Wizard of Oz. And that's kind of like the last time we really see him, I feel like. Dave reveals that you can control being a werewolf by drinking the tap water, because the tap water comes from the mountains where there is a lot of silver in it.
Just a tiny amount of silver is good for werewolves. It's too much that murders them.
Yeah. And, they just happen to live by the silver water.
By Silver Mountain. Silverwater Mountain.
So Dave gives them kind of like a lesson about werewolves. And Dr. Dad is passed out on the table. So, yeah. Dave is just like... okay. So they give Wolf's son some water to drink, and he's like, and then he's just like, "Oh, it's going to take a while. Just let him stay here," while he kind of like, sweats off being a werewolf, I guess. And we find out that Dave is kind of like an undercover werewolf cop. He is trying to investigate this, like, the bartender apparently has like this whole group of, I think, call it a tribe, and I'm not going to do that, and I don't really know, like, I don't know, it's just like a subgroup of werewolves that, like, the bartender is in control of, who is, like, doing werewolf crimes, I guess. And so there's, like, another council, like the word, he says a bunch of stuff that to me just sounded like a word salad. It was just like a bunch of stuff that didn't make any sense. But, like, essentially there's a council that says, like, "Hey, we're all werewolves and you can't do certain stuff." And one of them is feeding humans to other humans, right? So the bartender, they like want him to be brought in to like answer for his crimes, essentially. And yeah, so we find out that the next night it's a full moon, so they'll be able to kill or trap the other werewolves because they will be basically like feral because the moon is full and they won't sense that there's a trap coming. And Dave can help them because he's just going to use meditation to transform into a werewolf but not be feral. And the scene when this happens was baffling to me. I felt like I was watching like a Chris Angel music video or something. It was very weird.
I tried to take a fucking screenshot of this, and it kept, every time I would do it, it would pull up all the fucking, like, the time elapsed bar, like all that shit. I couldn't get a good screenshot of it, but it's baffling.
I have a lot of questions about it. So then it just like cuts to everyone sitting at the dinner table, like eating the doctor, while the song in the background is about eating people or something. And it goes on for a while.
The music in this movie is incredible. Like, all of it is just, it sounds like shitty stock music, but it's not. It's all shit written for the movie.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of it too.
Oh,
it's like there's a lot of songs.
So Kit sent me a link to eBay where I could buy the DVD, and like I'm so tempted because there's an audio commentary, but then it also just says soundtrack as one of the bonus features. But soundtrack is two words.
Love it.
I need it, but I also $35 for this DVD is too much.
It's pretty steep.
Worth it. It's signed.
Yeah, it's gonna do me a lot when I retire.
You just wait.
I'll be like,
Lycan Colony 2 is gonna come out.
No, I'll be like, you don't understand. It's Rob Roy, the restaurant owner, that signed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like the doctor having a dream, essentially, for whatever reason. Stuart is now back to normal, and basically the mom is mad at him because he's shut on the sofa. Classic mom. So trifling. Then there's just kind of like a montage of them looking at weapons, like all the weapons that Sis had, and they're all over the table, and they're like looking at the stuff. And basically, Dave says that the only way that to get rid of a werewolf is because she doesn't have any silver bullets, so they need to either decapitate them or rip their hearts out. And she's like, well, I heard a bunch of them, so at least they'll be wounded. And then he's just like, well, and then he just like stabs a knife through his arm, which actually didn't look too bad. Like, I'm here for that.
Yeah, it looked fine.
It was okay. It looked way better. It took me off guard, and in a good way. So I'll give it that. That's the half star I gave it, is this arm scene.
Well, you can't rate it lower also.
I mean, yes. True. This scene is so weird, though, because he stabs himself in the arm to basically show her that they can, like, heal. Not only can they heal, but the skin is stronger because they've healed. And I was like, that's fake, but okay. It's weird because they show, like, he does it. Then they show, like, a weird, like, scene of, like, the rising sun. And then they show her reacting to it, but there's no sound on her part. And then they show him again, but, like, the section of the arm that should be healing is, like, out of frame. So I was like, okay. It's very strange. So basically, she asks how, I don't know where they're supposed to live, but I called it Werewolfburg. How werewolf, that's hard to say. Werewolfburg happened. And he's basically just like, we have some time before they need to go kill werewolves. So I'm going to take you to meet someone. And he takes her to meet Athena, who every scene that she's in is baffling to me. Athena is 119-year-old werewolf. I think he says that she's the oldest werewolf in the town or something. And they show up to her house, and Athena immediately, blasts Sis with magic.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, also she's a witch. I was like, okay.
Did you think this movie wasn't going to have magic in it?
I did not think it. No, I was not expecting it. Athena sees that it is Dave who has come to visit her, and she's like, oh, David, and she runs in slow-mo to...
Oh, hello?
She gave up. Couldn't take anymore.
What happened?
She sticks her tongue in his ear.
Hold on a second. You disappeared for 10 seconds and then just came back in the middle of your sentence.
Oh, what did I say last?
You were talking about her running in slow motion.
Okay, she runs in slow motion to happy, upbeat music. Baffling. And then she is basically, asking why Sis is there, and he's like, oh, we need your help. So then she sticks her tongue in his ear in order to psychically learn
God,
what
I forgot about
happened
this
the
too.
previous...
What a fucking
Why?
weird choice.
Is this a fanfic from somewhere or something? What is going on with that? I don't know. So she basically learns what happened the night before. Also, there's just randomly a pig there. She's got a huge potbelly pig. I don't know.
Oh yeah, she has this weird fucking dialogue about how werewolves don't have 6 nipples.
So yeah, she says to Sis and no, we don't have 6 nipples, and she's like, what? So Sis wants to know the background, and then it shows Athena's face. She's not looking at the camera, and it shows her for a couple seconds. Then she suddenly looks straight on at the camera, and then it just zooms in very slowly on her eyes for 10 seconds, and I was like, what is happening with this? But it was because she was phasing into storytelling. I have no way how to describe the way that the storytelling situation looks. It's like a stock image of a stone wall with wingdings on it or something. I don't even know. But essentially she's telling the history of the shapeshifters. And at first I was the story she's telling is essentially the legend behind Wendigos. And I was like, that's really weird. But then she actually mentions them. And I was like, okay. I'm so confused, because then she's just yeah, but basically she says that this priestess's brother was trapped in a cave, and there was a storm, and he was really hungry, so he started eating everybody, and he just ate everybody, and then he transformed into a shapeshifter. And then I don't understand why, but apparently she was well, I'm not going to kill my brother, but she banished him or took away his powers or something, and so now there's other descendants that have the power to shapeshift, but they're not blood crazed animals or something, and so she just lets them survive. And I was okay, fine, sure, that's the story.
It's a good story.
Then
a classic tale as old as time.
She was, I don't know. So then Dave reveals that so Athena is basically just oh, some of the werewolves here are descended from ancient peoples, and we've been here for whatever. And then Dave's just and I decided to become one because of a woman. And I was like, okay, so you could just choose if you want to be one. So it's the next night, and Stuart is going to change into a werewolf again. So they handcuff him to a bed using his handcuffs, And his mom's like, I don't even want to know.
Oh, she's like, where did you get these from? And he's like,
Stupid. And then so they handcuff him to the bed, and then they give him a sedative so that he can just like sleep through the night. And my question is, they show us them putting the needle in his arm, but then it's like really bloody, and I was like, why is it so bloody? It's just a needle. Very weird. So it's time to duel, okay? And
it is time.
Dave shows Sis the path to go through the woods to find like the werewolf's den. And basically what's going to happen is she's going to go in, and he's going to go around the back to quote unquote surround them. There's like 5 of them, and there's like 2 of them, so I don't really know if you would call that surrounding. But then he's like, okay, see you there. And they basically like recorded him jumping in front of a green screen, just like very like jumping off the ground, like with both legs together, like hopping. And then they put like rocks in the background to make it look like he's like leaping up rocks. And it reminded me of like in Blue's Clues when Steve like skidoos into the paintings or whatever, and I was just like, this is too much at this point. It's too much. And then but Sis has to rock climb to get to them, which seems really shitty because she's rock climbing and walking through the woods for like a really long time. Okay, this is the scene where it hard cuts to Dave transforming into a werewolf, and I just wrote, it's so weird, please make it stop. I don't know how.
He's a weird wolf.
I just like don't know how to describe what's happening in this scene, and I don't feel like I want to. So, then again, I feel like I missed something because it just hard cuts to Sis falling out of a tree and like being attacked by a werewolf, and I was like, I don't know if it skipped ahead or something, but anyways.
I feel like it's safe to say you didn't miss anything, and it didn't necessarily skip anything. They just didn't put anything there.
They just didn't put it there. Yeah.
I don't know if we've made it clear yet. The editing of this movie is pretty great.
It's next level. It's avant-garde.
I also need to point it out that
it's abstract,
experimental.
That this person has edited 7 other things.
Rob Roy,
after
he knows what he's doing,
at least.
Okay.
So like, I'm hoping he learned, but
no, I hope he got worse.
He's just like his eyes are closed and he's just like clicking buttons.
He just edits movies like, was it William Burroughs that would like cut up and like read, like just cut up sentences and paragraphs and like replace them and shit in his writing. Like, I wonder if that's how this guy edits.
Yeah.
He just cuts things like randomly and pieces it back together somehow.
I do have to say, as much as I did not enjoy this personally, and for its flaws, the storyline is pretty coherent compared to a lot of other movies that we've watched that had like slightly higher production value. Because there's been a lot of movies where I could not piece together a plot or what was happening. So at least the story itself, I would maybe read a book about it. I don't know that I wouldn't rewatch a movie or watch another movie, but I would read the book.
The reason it's so good is that one of the only trivia items on IMDb is about how Rob Roy has a strong connection to werewolves, and that's why he wanted to make this movie.
Listen, I feel I can
how
tell.
How does one have a strong connection to werewolves?
I think it may have just been wolves, but either way.
Oh, okay.
I'm wearing
that
my
makes
werewolf,
slightly more
werewolf
sense.
shirt, so I get it. I get it, all right?
Oh yeah, it says director Rob Roy had a strong connection to wolves his entire life. It started after he first saw Balto in 1995,
Oh, Balto.
and then inspired him to create his own wolf film, which eventually became Lycan Colony. He even attempted to contact Kevin Bacon for a cameo, but was chased off the actor's property, ironically by dogs in 2003.
Oh my god! You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sitting here and I realize, as a 30-however-year-old person that I am, I think that I'm a wolf girl. I have I have one of those like fleece blankets on my bed that's like the wolves in different phases, like howling. It's not the moon. It's like it is a wood scene. But I feel very seen by whatever Rob Roy or whatever his name is. I get it, man.
I feel like we all knew you were a wolf girl, and you're just now coming to this realization.
Nobody told me.
Wild.
I didn't know.
You're in too deep with the wolves. You're too embedded.
I think so. I do love them. I have. Oh my gosh, I'm like having. I feel. I'm having an epiphany. I'm just like sitting here thinking back on my whole life. And
thinking about all the times you were hanging out with wolves and petting them.
I didn't think anything of it. I have this I am speechless. I guess
you're the next Rob Roy.
I think that he has just really changed my life. I don't know.
I told you this.
I'm having a real moment of clarity.
Y'all ever?
Thanks to Lycan Colony.
You're welcome. I knew this was a life-changing film.
Oh my gosh, I need to rewatch it with my new wolf eyes.
Yeah, wolf vision.
Oh man. Let me collect myself here, because the best part is about to happen.
I just had a thought real quick.
What?
What if instead of Rob Roy, this movie was directed by Roy Donk?
Fucking from the
King of the Tuk Tuk sound.
I can't remember if he was on the Colgate Hour or not.
Yeah, Colgate Comedy Hour.
Yeah.
There's my I think you should leave reference for the week.
I figured. The name is funny enough that it made me laugh anyways.
Roy Donk?
I'm just thinking about it when she's just miming, playing a fucking flute or whatever, and he's like, ooh, I like her sound.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tim Heidecker, the king.
Okay. I collected myself.
All right, Katie. Wolf us through. Wolf us through the end.
Yeah, okay. We're almost there. So, so hard cuts to Sis falling out of a tree, and they do this thing where when she's fighting, where they speed it up for some reason, because I guess she's got really, really good skills. And she ends up just choking out one of the werewolves, which I thought was hilarious. And this is where it's very clear that they are not actually in the woods while this is happening. There's just green screen, because it's every time they show them, there's clipping coming through, right? So it's you can tell it's a green screen. And this is the scene that Nathan was talking about earlier, where she rips out the werewolf's heart, and she says, what does she say?
You hairy motherfucker, right?
Like 3 times.
Yeah.
Hairy motherfucker. Then she throws the heart against some rocks.
Says it again.
And then she says it again, and then she stomps on the heart.
And says it again.
And says again, yeah.
So, she really showed that guy. So this
that
is
hairy
where...
motherfucker.
Yeah. This is where another werewolf shows up, and it turns out that it's her brother. And he's also, he's just totally fine. He's totally cool to help out, so he's going to help her. I was very confused by him showing up. this is when the bartender, who is a gray werewolf, and like we said, this is like a full-on suit. Also has dreadlocks for some reason. This is like a full-on furry suit, not like a cartoon one where they have like the big cartoony eyes, but it's like a full suit.
It's incredible.
I was startled by it.
It also looks like they can't move in it.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those ones where you can't like turn your head, and it like looks so thick that it would be hard to kind of get any kind of joint movement out of it.
Yeah, I feel like this was like 2006, right? So this was definitely like a prototype furry suit, like before they realized people wanted to like do stuff with it.
They need mobility.
Yeah. They need to be able to play Twister, all right?
It's like the Batman Begins bat suit. You're not doing shit in that.
Literally, yes. Your whole body has to turn for you to like look a different direction. And yeah, very startling because I was not expecting us to see like a full suit werewolf guy. So he shows up and it's the bartender, like I said. So she's like, oh, I can't find my rifle. And her brother's like, we'll look for it later. And then they turn around and the gray werewolf has her rifle, which I thought was really funny. And he shoots at them, and Dave, in werewolf form, leaps in front of them.
Dave the werewolf.
Leaps in front of them to take the bullet, and then Sis goes, whoa, he took a bullet for us. Like, with no inflection. And then they're like, oh no, the brother like pulls the bullet out of Dave or whatever, but Dave is kind of like non-responsive, I think. Then they go over to the gray werewolf and sees that he has the same wound as Dave. So I don't really think they ever explain this, but I think that they're alluding to the fact that like if you wound one, they all get wound, I guess. I don't know. And they chain him up or whatever. And then Dave is like, take him to the redwoods. And then Dave just like disappears. And Sis is just like, what is he talking about? There's no redwoods here. Are we supposed to drive him to California? And the bro is like, oh, I think we need to go over there. And it pans over, and there's literally just a section of the woods that they've put a red filter over. So it's the redwoods. I was like, what?
Makes sense.
So, the gray wolf gets up and punches Sis out, and then Agatha the witch appears, and it suspends him in the air with magic. Then she goes over to Sis and licks all of her wounds so that they heal, and it was very weird.
That's not as weird as putting the tongue in the ear to see a flashback or some shit.
I don't know. They're both pretty weird. The gray wolf gets up. This is the scene where the gray wolf like throws the witch away and she like tumbles into the distance, but there's like so much clipping and pixelation that it's like you can barely tell what's going on, and it was hilarious.
What a roll.
It was like rolling a potato. She like went, he must be a bowler, I guess. But then she gets up and she's fine, I guess, and they're like fighting, Sis wakes up and is just like, wow, I just had the weirdest erotic dream. Why were you there? Like, for her brother? And I was like, oh, all right. Listen, I stand her and the witch, I think. They would make it. I loved the witch's earrings, so if anybody knows how to get them, please give them to me. They were so cool.
Let's know, Rob Roy.
Listen, I've turned a leaf. You've changed my life, okay? I'm sorry about all the mean things I said to you about your movie, because I don't know what I would do without you at this point. So the witch and the gray wolf are fighting, and she's like using magic, and he's just trying to like swipe at her, I guess. And they end up, Sis like jumps on his back and puts the shock collar around his neck, and then the witch uses magic to like, I don't know, control him, I guess, and then they shock him and he passes out. This is when Agatha, the witch, reveals that the Grey Wolf bartender is her ex-husband, and she spits on him.
I forgot about that too.
I love it.
Did we anybody talk about the bullet wound in the werewolf?
Not really.
The werewolf gets shot, and like they just put like MS paint of like red over it and like CGI, and it looks so shitty.
It's pretty funny. So then they're like, yeah, we've got to take him into the Redwoods. So Sis steps into the Redwoods. There's like a part on the screen where you can clearly see they've just like slid it's almost like they got a literal red, like tangible filter and slid it over just half of the camera, because she like sticks her hand in as if she's like going into a portal or something, and then she gets in there. So everything is red right now.
Could you imagine if you were walking through the woods and just stumbled through like this weird section that was just red like this?
I hate to say it, but I think I'd be like, all right, what's this about?
Just walk in.
Let's check it out. Yeah. So they go in there, and there's also this weird, blurry, like 3D effect when they're moving around in there. And the lady from the legend that Dave told earlier, who like banished her brother or whatever, shows up and changes the brother back to human. She's taken his powers, so he's human now. Then she puts her hands on the bartender and yells very loud for kind of a long time, just like, ah, like that. And changes, also takes the bartender's powers away, so he also changes back into a human. And she says that she can't kill him. Oh, wait, what? Oh, she basically says that he's not allowed to live with the norms. That's what normal people are called, the norms.
Yeah.
I
forgot earlier whenever the dude said it, like, oh, that's the lingo that we use, to call normal people. And then she was like, wow, racist werewolves.
He goes, sorry, I didn't mean that to be racist.
Some real Hot Topic energy.
Fucking racist werewolves.
Also because I feel like there's some other things in this movie I left out that are pretty questionable, racism-wise. So, yeah, he can't live with the norm, but he also can't stop eating them, essentially. So she's taken his powers and disappears, and now all of the red is gone, and it's just normal. The bartender they're like all like, oh yay, we did it, or whatever, and he tries to get up and run, and then they activate the collar, and he explodes. So,
R.I.P.
He's away from the norms now. Sis and Bro just like smile and nod to each other and walk in slow-mo to happy music. Then it cuts to Sarah and Stu, and they're like holding hands and spinning around in the yard, so I guess they're in love now. And Dr. Dad and the wife hug, and she's like, I guess she's okay. I can be a bitch sometimes too. And I was like, okay, great. This is the part that, okay. Oh, also, Sis and Bro are like walking, whatever, and they end up, okay, this is the part that's very baffling to me, because then it shows the witch's pig coming to her door because it wants to be fed. So she's going to feed it, and then they zoom in at a little boy who is eating a bowl of meat at a counter. So it's like the little boy from the beginning. And I'm like, okay. Then it switches over to Sis and Bro, who sit on a bench with Dave. Then it shows the little boy going to the fridge to get something. And now there's a monkey on the counter.
Eating a cereal.
And the monkey is eating, it's a bowl of meat. the monkey is eating the bowl of meat, and the kid is making a grumpy face. And they play music behind it that leads me to feel like we're supposed to think that this is like some kind of revelation that this little boy is here, and I don't understand like why it's important or what it's supposed to mean or whatever. But then so that's it. I don't know. The monkey is eating the meat, and the kid is sad about it. And I was like, why the fuck is there a monkey?
I really just assumed he discovered he knew somebody that had a monkey and was like, I gotta put this in somewhere.
You're telling me I can have the monkey for a weekend?
Makes no sense.
And so then it switches back to them all sitting on the bench, and the bro says something like, nice town, and then Dave goes, we like it here. And then it switches to a sign that says Canesboro. And then there's a bunch of wolf noises, and it's the end.
Oh, fucking perfect movie.
Why? I want to know why the monkey. Is it supposed to?
I don't know.
Because the witch earlier says that she has control over her powers so much that she can shapeshift into anything. So, like, is she supposed to be the monkey?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I have no explanation.
A lot of the reviews were just like, "What the fuck is this ending?"
I don't know, but I don't know.
It doesn't need explained. Just know it's perfect. Just again, everybody needs to see this movie at least once because
it's incredible. It's an experience.
It's an experience.
This is definitely one of the ones I feel like would have been a really good one to do like a live viewing or something.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing a monthly watch along, but it's just gonna be this movie every month.
For the full moon.
Yeah. Every full moon we'll do Lycan Colony.
Lycan Colony.
Katie will wear her werewolf shirt, wrapped in her werewolf blanket.
Okay.
Hanging out with her wolf friends.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking about it. I do have more wolf stuff than I thought I did.
Her entire wardrobe is wolves.
I have
my
this
god.
Really cute wolf stuffed animal that I got when I was like younger in high school or whatever. But it's from this like what was it called? It was called like Discovery something.
Wolf Store.
And it was a store. It was
Wolf Store.
Yeah, the Wolf Store. It was called something, and it was in the mall, and it had like all of those weird, like chocolate, the rocks, the chocolate that looks like rocks, and like astronaut food, and like lava lamps, and like all that weird, like quote unquote science type toys.
One of those like the kids, like science is cool stores.
Something like that, yeah. And it had those like balls that you like pull out and they get really big, and then you push them in and they're stars or whatever, shit like that. And
no idea what that means.
Okay, someone will know. I got a stuffed animal from there, and it's like a like a life like whatever. And I had it sitting on our the couch for whatever reason, but I had to stop putting it there because we kept thinking it was Merlin. Like, we would see it out of the corner of our eye and be like, oh, Merlin, and then it was just like a stuffed animal. It was so stupid. Anyway.
All right, any news?
Yeah.
The wolves are back.
The wolves are back in town.
That's the news.
They're here. It's the Wolves of Wall Street, but in a good way. They're like helping people.
The wolves eating people on Wall Street.
Taking down the government. So
thank you, wolves.
The heroes we need. I saw that Jacob, I think his last name is Batalon. He is Ned from like the new Spider-Man movies or whatever, is set to star in a comedy called Reginald the Vampire, that is based off of like a book series or whatever, and it's airing October 5th on Sci-Fi. Don't really, I saw was a still from it, but I think he's so funny, so I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if she's starring in it, but Pam Grier is going to be in a new movie that's called As We Know It. That is a 90s, like set in the 90s, zombie horror romance movie. So I don't really know what to think about that. They're doing another H.P. Lovecraft adaptation called from The Thing on the Doorstep, but Barbara Crampton is starring in it, and then Joe Lynch and Brian Usna are attached to it also. So I don't know.
I mean, I'll watch it for Brian Usna and Barbara Crampton working together. That's probably about it.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I'm actually really excited about is it's a history of queer horror documentary. It's in 4 parts, and it's called Queer for Fear. But the executive producer is Brian Fuller, who I absolutely love. And that's going to be on Shudder September 29th. And
did you see that the singer for Power Man 5000 has a movie he directed on Shudder now?
Oh no!
Oh my god!
Like Allegoria or something like that, I think.
I saw that name somewhere. I had no idea it was the Power Man 5000 thing.
We gotta watch it.
Oh my god!
It's got surprisingly good reviews from what I saw, but it's also like just hit Shudder, so
I'm going to see them, I think.
Oh yeah, you going to the
me
Rob
and Layla?
Zombie?
Yeah, me and Layla are going to Rob Zombie, and I think they're opening.
I saw like somebody on Instagram went to it last night, and it looked like there were like 8 fucking opening bands. It was like Power Man 5000, Static X, Mudvayne. There was like 2 other bands. Then like Rob Zombie, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
I was like, hell yeah, seeing Static X would be kind of tight because I was way into them in like high school, and then like 2 weeks later, I was like, wait, Wayne Static's dead. Yeah, what like the fuck?
Somebody else. Who like he wears a fucking wig to look like Wayne Static on stage.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how that will be. Dave Static.
I forget who it is. Is this somebody from like the Murder Dolls or some fucking other shitty band?
I forget. I googled it a while ago.
We watched the guy from Mudvayne fall off stage. That apparently happened at one of the shows. Was that the end of the news?
Yeah.
What did everybody watch this week? Katie, what have you been watching since you weren't here last week?
All wolf movies.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Not a lot, honestly. I watched the Bob's Burgers movie. It was alright.
I still need to watch that. I've got to catch up on the seasons first.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know if the whole season of the recent season's out yet, but I watched a few episodes and I thought it was like back to being funny to me, but the movie was like, it was fine. I don't know. It's a lot more like deals with a lot more kind of like serious stuff than the show does, I think. So I don't know. I watched the Judge Dredd stuff. I watched Insidious Chapter 2. And I
heard there's like 5 of them.
I think there are 5. I have only ever seen the first one, which I know there's different opinions, but the first one is one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love it. The second one is extremely not good and a little offensive, I feel. So I didn't care for it. I will not be watching any of the other ones. Then I watched a few documentaries. I watched Girl in the Picture, which is pretty good and very insane story. I don't want to give anything away, but it is something. If you want a wild ride, then that is the documentary for you. It's obviously a true crime documentary. And then I watched The Most Hated Man on the Internet, which is about stupid douche twat Hunter Moore, who started Is Anyone Up? if anyone remembers that. And Nathan and I talked about it a little bit. The documentary itself is like fine, but you know, it is what it is. I feel like I watched one other thing.
Lycan Colony.
Yeah, I watched another. Never mind. I don't remember. Oh, never mind. It's gonna be my shout out, so never mind. That's all.
What about you, Kit?
See, I watched City of the Vampires, which is dog shit. Awful. Don't be fooled by its very cool cover. Arachnia, okay. Blood Games, also okay.
Arachnia was like totally just passable.
It's there. I watched the second and third of the Before trilogy. It's like Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. Super good. If you want to have a lot of feelings, fantastic. Super recommend. But the best thing is Righting Wrongs.
Yeah, I need to watch
that movie. Whips an insane amount of ass. Every single fight scene is the coolest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah, that's what I think the thing I'm gonna watch on my next like day off. Now that I got the Blu-ray.
It's amazing.
The Blu-ray.
I've been like wanting to see that movie for so long, so I gotta make time for it. I don't know, like the other person that works nights with me is going on vacation all week, so I have a feel like I'm gonna have like no days off. And
poor bastard.
We'll probably call off a bunch instead.
I
Smart.
raised Lycan Colony to 1 star, okay? Are you happy?
Just put this movie gave me a fucking life-changing revelation. 1 star.
Yeah, 1 star.
I watched a shot-on-video short called McMurderer about somebody that kills Ronald McDonald, I guess. It was...
He deserved it.
Really, really fucking confusing and weird and I didn't understand it. I watched Ruggero Deodato's movie Ballad in Blood, which is apparently his idea on what happened with the Amanda Knox case. And it's not great. It's fine.
Baffling
It's
premise.
Yeah. It's very weird and like kind of not acting great, but I don't know, it held my attention. I also watched Arachnia because I had watched Battle of the Lost Planet and Mutant War.
Very weird timing.
Yeah.
On our part.
Like I had bought Battle of the Lost Planet and Mutant War, like Vinegar Syndrome released on both. And like the cover was cool, so I was like, I'm gonna buy this. And they're just kind of like okay, like post-apocalyptic, like whatever space movies. But I realized they were by the director of Muckman, which I did with Erica. Customers Also Watch, which is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And so I was like, I gotta see what the rest of this dude's movies are like. And then I watched Arachnia and was like, I'm good. I could not watch the rest of these. I watched Alien Beach Party Massacre, which is another like 90s SOV movie, and it was fine. Sandy Hook Lingerie Party Massacre. I watched.
Jesus.
Well, Sandy Hook, New Jersey, not because I think
Okay.
after the Newtown stuff, they changed the name to New Jersey Lingerie Party Massacre, and it's
That makes sense.
It's pretty bad. I watched Batman: Soul of the Dragon, which was also fine. I was very excited about a Batman Kung Fu animated movie, and it's mostly kind of boring. I watched Doctor Strain and the Body Snatcher, which is really fucking terrible SOV movie. Do not recommend. I rewatched Veronica for some reason. Just to
I've been wanting to rewatch it too.
just to see if it held up, and it holds up to something.
Le Neckbreaker.
I watched Miss Marvel, which was really fucking good. I rewatched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now that's on Disney Plus because my first screening of some kid watching YouTube videos on the phone was not great. And then Caitlin and I went to the drive-in, so I saw Minions: The Rise of Gru. Woof.
Were you a gentle minion?
I feel like I could probably tolerate like the Despicable Me movies where it's mostly like Steve Carell.
Yeah.
But goddamn, the Minions on their own are it's brutal.
The worst.
The Minions.
The amount of, I would say, 60 and up people that showed up for just that movie and then left was baffling to me.
I gotta say, it fucking rules that they went out of their way to specify that the Minions were frozen during World War II, because otherwise they would have, aided Hitler. So they went out of their way to be like, no, they didn't do any Nazi shit. Please do not cancel the Minions.
Like, the only good part about it is that Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren do voices in it. And Jean-Claude Van Damme is a guy with a giant, like, lobster claw, and his name is Jean-Claude.
Insane.
Perfect.
That's pretty good.
That's the only reason that movie got 1 star out of me. But the movie that played after it was Thor: Love and Thunder, which was, okay. I need to rewatch it. I was texting Katie about it after I watched it, and, it's weird, because it's not bad, at least as far as, how much I like the Marvel movies and shit, so, I enjoyed it, but it's very, it's like 2 movies together that don't fit, where you got Christian Bale's story and Natalie Portman's story being super bleak, and then it's Taika Waititi humor, so it's kind of at odds with each other, but it's fun. I'm interested to see when watch it again when it comes to Disney Plus, also because the drive-in, I didn't expect as much of the scenes in it to be shot in darkness. So a lot of the screen when shit was happening with Christian Bale's character was hard to see. And then I watched Dr. Mordred, the Jeffrey Combs Full Moon Doctor Strange ripoff movie from the 90s. And
Amazing.
It slaps. It's kind of boring, but it also kind of rules because Jeffrey Combs is being very strange in it.
That screenshot you sent, he looked so ethereal. I can't wait to watch it.
Every scene he's in, he just stands there looking I don't know. Dapper's not the right word, but he's always dressed very oddly. And he just kind of stands there and stares and smiles and delivers all of his dialogue. It's very weird.
Amazing.
Oh, and
I love it already.
I also watched Beatrice Cenci, which is a 1969 Lucio Fulci movie that I really liked, but I need to watch again because I don't know if I fully understood what was going on in it. That was it. Katie, what was your shout out that you were holding back?
Oh, the new season of the Harley Quinn animated series came out. So I've been watching that, and it is so fucking funny.
I still need to watch any of that. Everything I've seen from it looks so good, but
so it like I said when I first started watching it, it is a little over the top sometimes, but it's really, really funny. And in this season, they've introduced the Bat family as character. They've had them throughout, but they're more of I don't know. They're in it more this season, and it's just the funniest shit. I actually laugh out loud when I watch it, which is not typical for me. So definitely not for children. 100% not for children. But so good.
All right. What about you, Kit?
Say
Lycan
Colony. A great question. Lycan Colony. I'll find my shout out is literally any shot on video movie on Tubi. Fine. Well, except for City of the Vampire, whatever I said was dog shit. Don't watch that.
I will stand by even the ones that are terrible. Emily's like, I'm glad
There's
I watched
something
that,
weird happening in them.
There's...
Oh, you know what? I've got a good one. Leaf Jonker's Darkness.
What?
That's a movie that kicks insane amounts of ass. And allegedly a Blu-ray's been on the way for like 4 years now. And every day we go without it, I die a little more. And I desperately need them to release it so everyone else can watch it. And I'll have people to talk about it too.
Poster art is incredible.
It's so nuts. The effects are amazing for it costing like $30.
You don't want to shout out the 2002 Darkness with Anna Paquin?
I don't even know what that is, so no. But the 2007 video game, The Darkness, on Xbox 360, I will also shout out. No Leaf Jonkers, but that's fine. It's got Mike Patton.
I'm in. My shout out is the band Sanagi released their first full length called Precedent. It's really good. Patiently, they all apparently are leaving their tour because somebody got COVID and are going to put all their merch up online, and I need it because they did not come to New Jersey.
Dang.
All right, next week we are doing a movie called O Zombie about Osama bin Laden turning into a zombie.
No.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna easily clear the already high bar for racism in film.
Has about 100 less views than Lycan Colony on Letterboxd. It is a Lycan Colony is 1.8 stars. This is 1.7. So, see if we can get this to clear over Lycan Colony with all of our 5-star reviews.
I'm dreading this.
I flipped through it on...
The crew is 2 people.
How do you... Wait, what do you...
There's the director and the writer, and that's it.
OSOMBIE.
Oh, that's even worse than I thought what you were saying.
Even drunk, this film is bad, is one of the top reviews.
Yeah. I flipped through it on, like, YouTube just to see, like, make sure it was, like, the whole movie. And I didn't see a single zombie, so I don't know what this movie's going to be like.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, no.
I can't wait to see what Katie's pick's going to be after this.
Yeah. Katie, you got some work to do. I don't know what you're going to find to be worse than this.
Did Somnium 2 come out yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Ugh.
What?
It's going to be fucking Osama's a little British girl.
We were...
It's the twist.
We were talking, like in the Judge Dredd episode, or maybe after, I forget, where I was telling Kit and Shade about how I just have, like, this ongoing list when I just stumble across movies that just look like trash on Letterboxd for, like, the podcast. That just has been growing because we kept doing, like, good movies for a while. And so, like, I opened it, and right in the middle was just the poster for this, just stared at me, and I was like, yeah, we gotta do this.
Oh my God, what is this?
It's on YouTube. So,
jeez.
you can watch it for free. Not deal with commercials. I
see? Does the director have a Jesus movie? Oh, yeah. Jesus short film.
There's no way this movie isn't going to be religious and
so bad.
Terrible. I can't wait.
Also, it came out in 2012, so this is not looking good.
I'm fully expecting
it's gonna be bad.
To just look like a fucking Asylum movie.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
You are the only one.
Getting absolutely probably the worst thing on that, like, on my list out of the way now. Yeah, that's on YouTube, and I think if you want to, throw up some money, go rent it on Vudu, but probably don't.
It says it's on, I don't know, it says it's on Amazon Prime for free, but you have to rent it on YouTube.
It might, no, there's a free thing on YouTube. I can send you all the link.
Nope, you gotta pay for it, Katie.
I just like that the tagline is the Axis of Evil Dead.
I really hate it. I hate it so much already.
I might watch this shit tonight just to see.
I don't know. I had a movie picked out, but I don't think I was thinking the same level of bad as you were. So we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like it's constantly going to be like, because like when we did the one where we did Somnium, which somehow was the worst one, only because it was so fucking boring, but like Kit and I, it's like our view of a bad movie is like, this looks like absolute dog shit. And Katie's is like, this one just looks like it's going to be boring.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to dig around. I'll save my other movie for something when we want to do something bad but fun.
All right. If you want to give us all of your money to watch O Zombie, you should subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/IHopeYouSufferPodcast.
Yeah, if you guys buy this Lycan Colony book for me, then I will read it.
Oh my god, I would fucking read the shit out of that. We gotta get a volume 2 going sometime soon. Mr. Roy. A couple days, I don't know, before this episode comes out. So when you're listening to this, it's already out. We have a free episode on our Patreon with Jazz and Kat from Girl That's Scary talking about summer horror movies, and you could also jump to their Patreon to listen to us on there for free. Also talking about summer horror movies. A little fun crossover that people can listen to for free. And then subscribe to our Patreons.
Different picks.
Yeah. There's 6 drastically different movies being talked about. You can buy merch at our Store Frontier shop. Leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. And on iTunes, leave us a review. Tell us your favorite moment in Lycan Colony. Tell us your favorite bit of fucking CGI green screen work.
Tell us when you realized you were a wolf girl.
Yeah. Tell us if this movie also was a spiritual awakening for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. I can't be the only one, honestly.
I mean, I feel like next week it's going to be like, I think I might be a zombie dude. Follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. Follow Kit at Kitrification of Blood. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. And join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. See all the August stuff Katie's doing this month.
Yeah, so excited to actually be able to do it this year because I was moving across the country last year, which seems absolutely insane to think about.
Yeah, now you got Buc-ee's and you're doing ghost drawings.
Oh my god, I'm going to Buc-ee's tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. Beaver nugget.
Oh, I forgot. Caitlin got me one of those strawberry watermelon Cokes I was going to drink, and I forgot about it.
I didn't know they existed.
I didn't either. It's apparently like that fucking some DJ Marshmallow person or some shit did like a collaboration with Coke.
I somehow know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you would.
I need to find that. That sounds crazy. Oh.
You can listen to my other podcast, 8K Movie Club. I'm gonna just go on a limb and say everybody should watch A Zombie for next week.
I don't even want to watch it.
I need at least
absolutely not.
4 other people that follow me on Letterboxd to watch it, so we can make sure it's in like one of the trending movies for like, the Friends thing. Because it's anytime the 3 of us watch something, somebody always messages like me, and it's like, oh, I know what movie you guys are doing next week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really follow that many people, so if it's like you and Kit watch something, it's always on my trending, and it is always unhinged looking because it's like whatever normal people are watching, right? Like
it's
Thor or
it's always
Green Hunter or whatever that was, and then it's just like Lycan call Zombie, and it's just. Yeah.
It's always funny because it's like right now it'd be like, nope, Mad God, The Black Phone, and then it's just like some weird fucking garbage that like
zombie strippers.
Me, you, and Kit
whatever.
Watched.
Zombie strippers rocks though.
Yeah, agreed.
Big Booby Ninja Warrior or some shit like that.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Look, I did watch Big Tit Zombies the other week, the week you weren't here.
That's what I was. Yeah.
Surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be.
Well.
Low bar to clear.
But, like I said, they did not come through on the big boobs in that movie, I gotta say.
Yeah.
They, just, just changed the title to, like, Mid-Size Tits Zombie.
A to B cup zombies.
Alright, zombie strippers next week.
No.
Gotta add that to that list.
Actually,
so I remember when it comes to something.
I might prefer that to of zombies.
I've seen it. I saw it when it first came out, and I don't remember enjoying it, but it was like 2008. I'm sure I probably have a different view of it after all these years of good, bad movies. It might hold up. All I remember is I think Robert Englund is like the owner of the strip club or some shit.
Of course, why not?
Yeah, Zombie next week, and then Katie will pick something that somehow will make both Kit and I's movies look like masterpieces.
I'm gonna try.
All right, I hope you're a werewolf girl, but why?